I has math, and you're going to learn how to draw a parabola that has a quadratic term with a coefficient other than 1. So far we've seen many happy parabolas, but I have to break it to you, some of them are really sad. They're quite negative as well. Have a look, such a sad parabola. And this is where the negativity comes from. See the negative sign in the equation? Translated parabolas can also be sad. See how their equation is different to their happy relatives. Okay, enough of this. If you add a negative sign in front of the term with the x squared, the parabola is going to be reflected vertically. When reflecting a parabola that is translated horizontally, make sure the negative sign is in front of the bracket, because if you put the sign inside the bracket, the square would result in negative x times negative x is positive x squared, and that would not be reflected. How would you draw such a parabola? Almost the same way we've always drawn them. Find the vertex first, but instead of going up by the odd numbers to find the other points, we're going down. How sad. Instead of a negative sign, we can also put a number in front of the term with the x squared. Such a number is called a coefficient. This results in a vertical stretch. If the number is greater than 1, then the parabola is stretched vertically. If the number is between 0 and 1, it's squished. You can already see how it's possible to draw these. From the vertex, go across each time, but instead of going up in the odd numbers, go up by the odd numbers times by the coefficient. For example, a half times 1, a half times 3, a half times 5, and so on. If the coefficient is negative, we still have to reflect the parabola vertically. The general vertex form for a parabola is y is equal to a times x minus b in brackets squared plus c. And you now know what a, b, and c are doing. A is a stretch factor vertically, b is the translation to the right, c is the translation up, and bc are the coordinates of the vertex. The same method works with all the translations we've seen before. Let's do a really crazy one to finish this off. If you're up for the challenge, pause the video and try it yourself before looking at the answer. Here we go. As always, I start by finding the vertex. It's 4, 1. Then I check the coefficient. It's negative, so instead of going up, we're going down. Not metaphorically, for realsies. 2 means multiplying the odd numbers by 2, so we're going down 2, 6, 10, and so on. Finally, connect the points and we're done. This is as hard as it gets. Seriously, you can now draw any parabola from its vertex form. This is not easy and it requires plenty of practice. And if you get stuck completely, don't forget that you always have plan B, the table function in the calculator. If you want to use that method, just make sure you change the start and end values in such a way that you've got sensible y values to plot in your graph. Before you go, I leave you with the solutions to the challenge from the last video. Enjoy!